Well, the big story coming in this morning, South Africa's first black president and anti-apartheid icon Nelson Mandela has passed away. Mandela passed away at his residence after a prolonged illness. His passing away was announced by nation's president Jacob Zuma. In a statement on South African television, Zuma said Mandela had departed and was at peace. The 95-year-old former president had been receiving intense home-based medical care for a lung infection after 3 months in hospital. He was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993 for his role in bringing a smooth transition in South Africa and for being elected the first democratically elected president of the country.
He is now resting. He is now at peace. Our nation has lost its greatest son. Our people have lost a father.
Today he's gone home. We've lost one of the most influential, courageous, and profoundly good human beings that any of us will share time with on this earth. He no longer belongs to us. He belongs to the ages. Through his fierce dignity and unbending will to sacrifice his own freedom for the freedom of others, Madela transformed South Africa and moved all of us. His journey from a prisoner to a president embodied the promise that human beings and countries can change for the better.
Nelson Mandela was not just a hero of our time, but a hero of all time. The first president of a free South Africa, a man who suffered so much for freedom and justice, and a man who, through his dignity and through his triumph, inspired millions. The strongest impression of all when you met him was of his extraordinary compassion and generosity and forgiveness. Tonight, families across Britain will mourn with his family and everyone in South Africa.
I'm profoundly saddened by the passing of Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was a giant for justice and a down-to-earth human inspiration. Many around the world were greatly influenced by his selfless struggle for human dignity, equality, and freedom. He touched our lives in deeply personal ways. At the same time, no one did more in our time to advance the values and aspirations of the United Nations.
Nelson Mandela was one of the great figures of Africa, arguably one of the great figures of the last century. He was the father of modern South Africa, a multiracial, pluralist democracy where people were judged, to use Martin Luther King's phrase, on the content of their character, not the colour of their skin. So, a truly great man.
Extremely sad and tragic news. We're just reminded of what an extraordinary and inspiring man Nelson Mandela was. And my thoughts and prayers are with him and his family right now.
Right, reactions from all across the world were leaders, people who have known Mandela and people whose lives have been touched by Nelson Mandela, speaking on the demise of the leader. We are joined on the phone line right now by Rasesh Mandani, my colleague from Johannesburg, on the phone line. Rasesh, I'm sure a deeply, deeply emotional moment for the people of South Africa. Just take us through the reactions that you're picking up from the country, how really people are mourning his demise.
So people are mourning his demise in a big way. Just to give you a sense of the sort of emotion that people have about the great man. Since the news broke about his passing away, in a sense, people were aware that he was having ill health and it was inevitable that it would happen at some stage. But when the reality struck, obviously, people, wanting that desire to just to be a part of the occasion, obviously sad about the fact that the great man was not with them anymore, but all of them wanting, to celebrate, his great life. They all tell us, that he's given them a reason to live and what they are today. And, one can relate to that because, the importance of Mahatma Gandhi in our country is still known. That's that's less than half a century since he passed away, and this man has been living with them for such a long time. So that's the pouring of emotion. There were people who were doing all sorts of things. Some of them who were asleep, some of them who were doing their daily course, and when the reality struck, they're out on the streets. We're trying to get to the place where he lived, and we spoke to people at this late hour. It's now 2:30 in early morning, and we can still see people, hundreds of people on the streets trying to reach to the place where the great Nelson Mandela lives. So there's a great bit of emotion around Johannesburg at the moment, and I think the whole of South Africa to realize that the great man Nelson Mandela is not with them anymore. He is known to be a giant for justice, a giant for equality, and everyone here in South Africa is just thankful for him for allowing them to live the normal life that they're leading today.